Hi, hello everyone. My name is Tania. I am going to talk to you about the history of La Tigra by Jose de la Cuadra. Okay, the characters are three sisters, more specific, Juliana, Sarita, and Francisca, the older sister. Her nickname is La Tigra. Also Clemente, Naranjo, Ternerote, and Masa Blanca is the wish. Okay, is the history is told in Ecuador, more specifically in the Balsar Canton in the northern Guayas. The history is told in the year 1935 in the Balsar Canton. Here lived three sisters Miranda, Juliana, Sarita, and Francisca. The older sister knows as La Tigra, who after death, the death of her parents in the past has become I'm sorry has become the head of the family to take care of her sister. Um, knows for her strong character and her free her free sexually is very free sexually.
The main themes: female power and sexuality. La Tigra controls both men and women. Violence and repression. Physical violence, especially towards Sarah. Freedom and confinement, memory and trauma. Music, the clarinets, and memorize symbolize what she lost. Narrator and language. José de la Cuadra used a popular, regional, and expressive style, full of coastal Islander realism. There are also lyrical and nostalgic moments. The main characters: Francisca, La Tigra, the fierce and dominant protagonist, is Juliana Miranda, the quiet and social sister, La Tigra accomplice, Sara Miranda, the youngest, looking away and turning like a bad woman and crazy, Soltero Naranjo, Ternerote, a main side to the sisters, el músico montañés, he is a clarinetist.
Now, un hombre muerto a punta de pies. The characters of this short story are the narrator, a man who is interested in justice, the celador, Dr. Ciro Benavides, the police chief of Sixth Station, and of course Octavio Ramirez. At the beginning, the short story tells how Ramirez was founded between Escobedo and Garcia Street by El Celador. He decided to take him to the police office so he could talk about what happened. However, he died soon after being found, even though Dr. Ciro Benavides tried to help him. This news appeared in the crime section of the newspaper, and here is when our narrator appeared. He was so interested in this case, and he even became obsessed with knowing what really happened before the mysterious death of Ramirez, and how he died by asking for a cigarette. Here is the conflict. He used the deduction method because he didn't have enough information to know what happened, and then he found something interesting in the newspaper. Ramirez was vicious. Then he went to the police chief of Sixth Station. The chief saw how he was really interested in this case and gave him 2 photos of Ramirez and also a physical description of him. After that day, and using the photos, he creates 4 possible theories about how Ramirez died. In the end, he puts all these ideas together and explains who Ramirez was and how his tragedy happened in the Escobedo and Garcia streets. Octavio Ramirez was a man of 42 years old and unknown nationality. He didn't have enough money, and also he was a man of cigarette addiction. On the night of January 12, in a strange city for him, he wanted to smoke again. His body needed. People who were on the street just ignored him. Not thinking clearly, he jumped on a 14-year-old boy. The boy asked his father for help. The father came and started to kick Ramirez in the stomach and all over his body until he was in a very bad condition, and that's when he died.
Hello, I am Elena Pacheco. I take about sitting narrator in theme the story Un hombre muerto puntapiés. This story happens in a city in Ecuador some years ago. Everything starts when a police officer found a man badly hurt, almost almost unconscious in the street, Escobedo and Garcia. Uh, they take him to police station where he dies. The narrator is the main character. He tells the story in the first person and shows products of the time. He is very interested in discovering how the murder of Ramirez happened. This man is curious and obsessed with the case, and sometimes uh, take jokes or speaks with irony. Uh, for investigate, he used scientific methods, and also him own personal ideas. Sí, this story is a difficult because it it talks about violence from people who have prejudice against with other people with your with a different sexual orientation. It also shows how the justice system does not care much about the crime and does not try to find the truth.
I'm going to talk about the similarities and differences of both stories, La Tigra and Un hombre muerto a puntapiés. We have that both of the stories talk about discrimination, racism, and a little bit of power abuse. Oh, and also traumas of losing the family or maybe an obsession to know anything, everything, without any proofs at hand that we're gonna talk about later. Uh, in the stories, it doesn't seem to matter if the stories takes place in a rural or urban zone, because we see that both of stories the people take bad decisions because they have a wrong idea of how to use power and they want to take everything they want. It's like they want to own them. The second similarity in these stories is that they show us the sad and final tragic no and the sad and tragic finals because of the decisions that people in those books did, showing us the desperation, the stress, and the anger in their actions, showing an insane behavior. Uh, Both of the stories are related in a different way. For example, in La Tigra, uh, the story's talk is related by another person, a man specifically, that it was used by the Tiger too and related everything that happened in that place. The second story is talk about the protagonist in first person. So the second difference here is that in La Tigra we have the feminist movement, but in a more dramatic way. The wrong idea of using power, the trauma of losing family, the the need of trying to protect everything by doing some actions that are not logical. And in the Un hombre muerto punta pies, we have the protagonist of this story is obsessed trying to know the truth without anything at hand. It talks about homosexuality and the homophobia.